Here I am, here we are. You have found your way back to me, or the first time finding me and the information that you need to help you move forward in this life-changing energy. And just before I was coming on to record this, I was talking with some people who I mentor, and we were just saying, like, you can feel that inner momentum, that energy, that propulsion. Something is happening, everything is happening all at once. And I'm really here to give you the tools and to help you really understand yourself even deeper and even more as we move forward in this August choice energy, this choice year, and understanding what is exactly taking place. So the first thing that I'm going to help you with, and let's really discover it, is let's close our eyes and let's take a moment. Take a deep breath in and out, and all of a sudden notice right away that you are standing in front of a mirror. Okay? Notice this mirror. Okay? Look at this mirror. And notice that right away, your mind can look at the reflection and it will see that the reflection is this body of form. Seeing this body of form exactly how you see your body of form. My hair right now is blonde. It can see my tan, the outfit that I'm wearing. Notice for you as you stare into this mirror, you're seeing the body of form. Okay? Now notice if all of a sudden you snap your fingers. So let's do that. Snap, snap, and see the body all of a sudden melt like candle wax. Notice the candle. It begins to melt. There you go. Melt the candle. There you go. See the wax. And as it melts away, all of a sudden you're seeing a robot. Breathe and relax as you allow your hands to move forward as the robot and see the robot. Good. Now all of a sudden look down at your feet, look around, and bring awareness to the robot. Okay? Breathing and relaxing. Notice how you are the robot. Okay? Now all of a sudden, notice you begin to pull yourself back. Pull yourself back and see it like a string is pulling you back. Okay? See the string, it's pulling you back. There you go. And notice how all of a sudden you've been pulled outside of this robot. See yourself being pulled outside of this robot. There you go. And look at yourself as like kind of taffy, like candy, like that stretchable or an elastic band, and see yourself being pulled all the way out of the robot. There you go. Pull yourself out of the robot. There you go. And now one last pull. There you go. Now you see the robot in front of you and you see yourself behind. Now witness the robot in front of you. Breathe and relax. Witness the robot in front of you. Good. Now just really breathe in this moment and notice you are starting to see and accept that you are not the robot. Take that in. You are not the robot. See yourself standing behind this robot. See yourself looking at the robot. You have just pulled yourself back and out of the robot to be able to see that you are not the robot. Stare at this imagery and then notice the robot. Notice how all of a sudden in front of it, it has a whole screen, okay? Multiple screens. It could look like 2, 3, 4 screens right in front of that robot. And notice how it just has lines and lines and lines of words. And the same things are popping up. And notice how the robot is reading the same lines over and over and over. Notice it. Watch this robot. Take this imagery in. Notice how somebody's walking up to the robot, and notice how the robot interacts. Notice the story that the robot reads off of these screens as it speaks to the person. Good. Notice this. Notice that you can sit here, move yourself now as you're fully removed from this robot, sit yourself down on a bench. There you go. All of a sudden see a drink that you love. Maybe it's an iced coffee. Maybe it's a Coca-Cola, a glass of water. Have a drink and watch the robot live its life. See how everything it does, every interaction that it has is coming from an automatic response on the screen. So just breathe and relax in this moment. And you can open up your eyes if you need, and you can hear my words and continue on this journey with me. And realize that whenever you find this, wherever you are, we are in a moment, a beautiful little bubble, okay, of what I would call time outside of time. You're not where you were yesterday. You're not where you are tomorrow. We're in this moment where you get to download and remember the truth that cannot be altered or taken away from you. So notice, in this moment, let's just take a moment to shut off the sewing machine. So see this sewing machine, and it's going, and it's all your thoughts. It's the mind. And see it just going. It's doing the stitches. And it's doing it so fast. Unplug it. Unplug that sewing machine right now, and then breathe. As I help you understand yourself, I am going to speak, and just allow yourself to intake the words and know that the words are just going to bother, annoy, distract the mind, while the energy does exactly what it needs to do. So the acceptance of where we are right now on this planet and what is happening is, in the last 8 days, the robot has powered down. Okay? The robot has powered down. And that is a very emotional and life-changing statement, because we have never, ever, 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 ever made it to the point where the robot has powered down. Now, the robot is not staying powered down. It keeps getting turned back on, but it cannot hold a charge. Why can't it hold a charge? Because of you. Because for the first time ever, you are starting to be conscious of the robot. So what you need to understand and what you need to absorb is, see it as this. You were standing on the edge of a cliff once upon a time, knowing that you were going to come into this moment of you hearing my voice, you living your beautiful life in whatever shape or form that was, and you having this journey and this experience that we have been working for and that we said we would get to, when you could apply conscious awareness to the robot. Meaning, every single one of us, when we were born, okay, when we came into this body of form, touch yourself, this body, living, breathing body, we knew that our stick of light, you can see your light, whatever color you want to see it, whatever you want to see, dropped into this body of form, and it has always been in a robot. We are in a planet that was controlled, keyword, by the robot. We have been coming and learning and discovering and living as the robot, dying as the robot, to now, right now. So many of us are awakening to the fact that we are not the robot. The robot isn't us. The robot is the program. We are the consciousness. So as I taught you and helped you to pull yourself back out of the robot and witness your life, see your scripts, see your stories, see the computer screens, how many of them each person has, and seeing what things your program, your mind lives and repeats off of. You have never, ever, ever been able to get here to be able to consciously see this. This is when everything pivots. Because when you understand, but most of all, when you feel that you are not the robot, you are able to accept that you are in the robot and command the robot. Command the robot. The robot is fucking terrified of you. But you have spent your whole life being terrified of the robot. Because what does the robot feed off of? What does it sustain off of? Fear. Fear, 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 fear. The robot cannot survive or thrive or function if it does not have fear. So notice, no longer do we need to live in a world that is fueled by fear, because we have arrived. So many of us have said yes to be able to debunk and command this robot, that we have taken over the robot now. So when you look out at the world right now and you can see all the things happening, whatever it is, I'm not even going to start labeling things because you don't need me to. Whatever you can label within your life that you're looking out and you're like, what the fuck is happening? This is crazy. Whatever, all the things. That is the death of the robot world. Okay? The robot world is dying. And it might seem like it's not getting any better, that it's fucking crazy. How can there be anything else happening but what you're seeing? Everything is happening. But remember what I said, the robot has been powered down. But it's restarting, and then it's glitching, and then it's shutting down, and then it's restarting, it's glitching, and it's shutting down. So when you look out at the world right now, that is why the drama and the chaos is heightened, and it's being played on this world stage, because that is the power down, that is the restart, that is the shutdown, that is it starting all over again. Okay, so if you see it with that lens, you can really give yourself that compassion, that grace, and that relief. Okay, so when you see it, any headlines, anything, you're like, oh, okay. So the robot, the program, if you look at it as a big computer system, all of a sudden is having a glitch. Okay, so when it starts to glitch like this, okay, and it's shaking, all of a sudden you're going to see a reaction in the world stage. Okay, so then that reaction happens. Okay, then all of a sudden that program shuts down. So then it can feel like everything is kind of like frozen, and it's all kind of like in this storyline, this whatever's happening, this thing. Okay, and then all of a sudden it reboots with the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But notice how fast and how quick everything is turning over. Everything is changing. It's the next thing, it's the next thing, it's the next thing. Because literally, if you want to look at the robot, if you want to look at the program, it's like it's on the side of a cliff and it's clinging. And you know, it's like the fingers are being pulled back one by one by one. Now, on the grand stage, that is happening, but within yourself, that is happening. So what does that look like within you? Okay? Your robot is doing everything, and I mean everything it can to take hold of your mind, which we'll call the sewing machine. So the sewing machine is just doing stitches upon stitches upon stitches upon stitches with all the stories and all the fears, okay? So as that sewing machine is it's going, notice everything your mind is telling you, Okay? Everything at this point that your mind is telling you is a fucking lie at this point. Okay? I need to repeat that. Everything that your mind is saying to you right now is the robot. Is the robot. Notice that. Because as soon as the robot can create something in your mind with this sewing machine that will not shut the fuck up, that then creates an emotional response in your body. Okay? So look at your life and look at yourself. Whatever it is that your mind is looping about, we'll call it a loop. It's doing the same stitch over and over and over. Look at that sewing machine. It's doing the same stitch over and over and over. And you notice how you keep looping back, looping back, looping back, looping back, trying to understand. The mind wants to understand. The mind wants to use the language to piece the stitches together to try and make a piece of clothing that's never going to be made. Okay? So as this mind is looping, because the mind is dying, the mind cannot come with you. It cannot come with you because the mind isn't you. The mind is not you. So as soon as this mind is looping, 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 and it's going off, then all of a sudden your body gets a physical response. So all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling fear. I feel a pit in my stomach. I XYZ. Whatever it is to you, you will know what that is, that emotional response in your body, okay? You all of the sudden feel it. Feel that emotional response. So it could be like, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless. Oh my God, I'm going to be broke. Nobody likes me. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Like it's always negative. Notice that. Everything that the mind is saying to you right now is negative, 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 doom and gloom. Anything it can do to try and get this power down, okay, to stick. It literally is trying to get you to stick because it wants you to be frozen in the robot. Okay, really hear me. It wants you to be frozen in the robot. So if it can get into your emotional body, okay, then your emotional body all of a sudden has this response. So whatever that is to you. Then what happens, that emotional moves to the physical, and notice how you're frozen. Notice how you feel X, Y, and Z. And now you're just physically in density, meaning physically you are in the robot. The robot has closed in on you. It has, latched its little hooks on you, and your light is now in the robot. So what do you do here? If you're unaware, you cope. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm frozen, I'm this. So you go out in the world, you have your coping mechanisms, you do whatever you can to try and feel better because now you're trapped in the robot. And at this point, you believe that you are the robot. Take that in. At this point, you now believe that you are the robot. So then what happens is if you have been on any type of inner journey, we'll call it. If you have been awakening to the fact that you're more than the robot, you then swoop over, okay, and you will use the words. You will use the words, the language, we call it. So you will use spiritual language, you will use, therapy tools, you will use whatever sort of verbal language you can to try and calm your body, to try and justify why you are where you are. And now what I like to say is you are now stuck in the words. You are stuck in the language. You are not applying your consciousness. The program has all the words, all the language. So what that does is it keeps you going like this. So you're just rotating between spiritual, emotional, back down to physical. Spiritual, emotion, back down to physical. Okay? And you're using the words. You're just talking the talk and you're saying all the things, but you know inside of you that you don't feel any different. And things just might get a tiny bit better, but they're not shifting. Why? This is why. Because the robot knows all the language. So just breathe. So now all of a sudden, you're like, wow, Coco, how do I get out of this? Like, I feel so trapped. You use you. You use energy. You use imagery. That is the quote unquote magic of you. That is how you live free of the program, because the program cannot do shit with imagery. That is why I'm alive. That is why our work is here, to help you discover the imagery and discover the feeling. When you feel, the robot can't do anything, because the robot doesn't know how to operate from feeling. The robot only operates from information and data. Okay? So in this moment, when you are trapped, okay, I'm going to teach you a tool to help you untrap yourself, so that at least you can get back up to the mind, because what the work is to get you back up to the mind and get you rotating to the left, which is the spiritual, and using the energy, applying the consciousness to command the robot, instead of going all the way over, using the words, and then just keep doing this cycle over. You have to command the robot. You have to use your consciousness to actually push the buttons on this robot to remove it and pull yourself back out. That is called a pop through. That is called living outside of the program. That is where you manifest. That is where you create. That is why you are alive. That is where freedom, joy, abundance, creation all exists when you, number one, accept the robot. Number two, you learn how to command the robot. Okay, so let's just take a moment, because I know majority of you are circling between the sewing machine, going down into the emotional body. You're stuck in that physical. Then you're using these words, and then you're super frustrated. And some of you might not even have the words. This might be your first moment of awakening to the fact that you were even doing this. So let's just start with what happens when you finally consciously realize that you are in the robot, that you are the robot. What do? How do you command it? So let's take a moment so that you can teach yourself and you can remember a simple step to get yourself out of this robot. Okay? So if you breathe and you relax, all of a sudden, let's see the imagery. Okay, of all of a sudden you are in a room. Notice this room, and there's absolutely zero doors. Zero doors. Okay, notice this room is jet black, the roof, the floor, the ceiling, and notice your body. In this room, you can feel panic. You can say to yourself, what the fuck? How did I get in this room? How do I get out of this room? What do I do? And notice the words, the thoughts, whatever you're feeling in this moment. Close your eyes. See yourself in this room. See yourself in this room. And then just breathe. And notice that there's one spot on your entire body right now, and it's glowing. Notice it. It's glowing a color. Find that one spot on your body. And then physically push that spot on your body right now. Physically push it. And as you push it, notice that you see yourself exiting this room. There you go. And now notice the walls collapse down. There you go. The walls collapse down. And in this moment, all you have to remind yourself, keep your eyes closed when you're doing this, the walls have collapsed down. Everything I have been experiencing is not real. I am not the robot. I am the commander of the robot. Push that button, hold that button, see those walls fall down. There you go. And notice how all of the sudden you can feel relief as purple, beautiful buckets of paint are coming down into the top of your head, all the way through your body. There you go. And feel yourself reset back into the consciousness of you. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And this is when you accept within yourself, okay, I am not the robot. The robot isn't me. But I see I keep getting myself here. There is so much support and tools to be able to help you continue to move out of this and create your life and understand yourself. If that is something that you want help with, message us. I can continue to mentor. We have all the things to help you remember and do this yourself. But in the meantime, you can do this. Now, all of the sudden, notice you're back, reset it, and you're at the mind. And the sewing machine is starting. You now have a choice when you get yourself reset it back to the mind. Do you choose to loop all over again, or do you actually command this energy? This isn't fucking real. I'm not going to keep doing this. It's that simple. When you literally can see the stories in front of you and it's trying to get you to go through this loop all over again to trap you. So to segue on this, to just understand where these stories and all these things are coming from, we got to start from the meat and bones, the basics of what the program operates from. Okay? The program literally operates from what is called your wounds. So every single person alive either has self-worth, rejection, or abandonment on female or male. Again, you can probably discover this yourself, but if you need support, that is my whole world to help you identify your wounds. Your wounds, okay, only exist in program life. When you're out of the program and you actually are consciously doing the work, you can see your wounds. You're not in your wounds, okay? That's why you do the work, because you live a life free of the program, so you're able to see your wounds, have the awareness of your wounds versus constantly being consumed by your wounds. Your wounds only exist in and when you are operating from the robot. Okay? The robot literally feeds and sustains off your wounds, meaning you will make all your choices from your wounds. So if you have a self-worth wound on feminine, you can see how all your choices leading up to basically this moment of now have been made from having a self-worth wound on female. Or if you have rejection on male, you can see that all of your choices are based on being rejected on the male. When these wounds, okay, happen when you're in the robot, that then triggers, we'll call it, a response in the robot, okay, that triggers a thing that I call seed manipulation. Seed manipulation is when you were born into this robot, when you were born into this body of form, your robot body had programming that was manipulated into your computer system from your lineage on your both your parents' sides, okay? So if you look at it, Coco's born into this body, Okay, this robot. I did not have a choice. This is the manipulation that took place on this planet that we're here to undo for the generations moving forward. All of the sudden, the lineage of my mom going 4 generations, the lineage on my dad going 4 generations, all that coding is dumped into my robot, and now I have seed manipulation. Meaning, my entire life, using me as the example, I would hear the mind say, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat. There was a point when I was in my 20s being like, where did this even come from? How did I literally be born fat? Like, where is that even coming from? You can see this within yourself. You have had narrations, thoughts, and experiences throughout your entire life that honestly, you have no fucking idea where they came from, but you labeled them as you. You beat yourself up that they were you, and you made choices throughout your life to become this, and you don't know why. That was your seed manipulation. Okay? Then the next progression is we all became addicts. Straight up addicts. What were our addictions from and for? Our addictions were literally created so that we could cope from the uncomfortability, the lack of understanding within ourselves of why we had seed manipulation. So we would do the things that we would do. We would experience the things that we experienced. And in order to be able to feel okay about ourselves, in order to shove down or be able to live and function, we got addicted. Yes, obvious addictions for all of us, whatever that might be, external stuff, smoking, sex, shopping, the list is endless. But then there is that internal addiction, and that is the meat and bones of everything. And that internal addiction literally keeps you stuck from creating your dreams. Because if you do not know what your internal addiction is, which is a script, a storybook in which you operate off of, your mind operates off of, your robot, literally, it's the fuel for everything. When you are at the highest progression, when you are literally frozen or about to do anything in your life that is going to move the light forward, not the robot, this script will come on. Your internal addiction will come on, and it will stop you, and it will block you. And it doesn't matter who you are alive. You could have millions of dollars in the bank account, be the most successful person on paper, whatever, all the things, but you have an internal addiction. If you're not aware of it, it is what is stopping you. So you might be phenomenal in business, but you have 4 divorces and you can't quite seem to click with your relationships. You might be a shitty fucking father or mother, whatever the case may be. There's some avenue in your life that is not sticking because of all of this. This is so easy to unwind now. This is so easy to tear apart and free yourself from it. This, again, is why me and my world is alive, to help you remember, to help you follow your dreams, to help you finally click those missing pieces that just never seemed to fucking click. Help you fix the broken pieces of you that were never your fault, but now they're your responsibility and also your choice. Your choice and the excitement of it all to actually live free and do the things that have seemed impossible. Your mind cannot even compute right this moment who you are and what you can do, because it limits you from the script of this robot. It limits you. It goes into X, Y, and Z, and if I have to have a job here, or if I have to do this, then that's not going to get me here. Bullshit. The mind is stopping you because you need not to take everything at face value. If all of the sudden you need to go out and provide for yourself, and say you're working as a janitor, just for easy language, and your mind is like, well, that's never going to get me to this point. That's bullshit. That's the mind. Because you don't know who you're going to meet and what is sitting to connect the invisible strings to create your reality right now. It is not at face value, but the mind will stop you from logic, from have-tos. This feels hard. This isn't the way I want it. All the things. Command the energy, command the energy, command the energy. The robot has died. And I really got to repeat that today. It is, I think, in linear time, August 7th. Here in Greece. It's August 7th. Somewhere in the last 12 hours of linear time, this robot has died. We are in what I can call a moment of, are you sure? Are you sure? Is this really happening? And that is why today I'm sharing this information, because you can see these words as little bubbles entering into you so that you can feel it and you can see the truth. And it's like you are here to override this robot, to live free. Honestly, all disease, all sickness, let's just call it bullshit exists in the robot, not in you. When you can remove yourself from the robot, you don't have any of those things. Only when you live the robot life, when you think you are the robot, do you have all of that. Do you need all the things externally to sustain the robot? Really hear my words. You can move yourself out of the robot. You just have to remember, and you just have to do the work to sustain and live outside the robot. The robot is angry. The robot is lost. The robot wants somebody to save them. The robot is entitled. The robot wants it more and more and more for itself. It's like a Pac-Man that just wants to eat, that game that we used to play as a kids. It just wants to consume more and more and more and more and more. When you are not that, you don't care about the more and more and more, but you can have everything because you create it from the consciousness of you, not the robot of you. The robot duplicates, hear my words, the robot duplicates you. You are a product to the robot. So every single thing that you literally think about, that you wish about, that you talk about, notice how the robot inputs that. Notice how your phone has all the things that you talk about. I'm recording this right now. Chances are, if I go on my social media lately, after this, I will see the things that the robot has intaked. The world is all talking about AI. The world is all AI this, AI that. You are it. You are AI. You're in the robot. Once you accept that, you command that. And it has no control over you. And that's the secret sauce right now. That's the magic. That's the ancient wisdom coming through. You are not the robot. And so many of us have said yes in order for what has just happened in the last 12 hours to take place. Because no longer do we need to live in a reality and a timeline where the robot runs the show and gets us to the same dead end that we've always been at. It has been this energy. If you look at my hands, if you're watching this video, it's been a compression. These 8 days really just push. And now all of a sudden it's like the robot was cornered and pushed in, and it was squeezed so hard. It had no choice but to power down. And tomorrow, of course, in true robot fashion, it tries to restart. It tries to do the glitch. It tries to do it all over again. But the difference this time around is you and me and the world, we're the ones that are in control and aware of the robot's power cord. Feel my words. We are the ones that are aware and in control now of the robot's power cord. What does that mean? That means that we choose. We choose. We command if the robot lives within us, as us, or we power it down. So before I go, use the imagery that I provide, that you can see. Send questions, send emails, message us, book a session. Feel yourself to understand what it feels like to be consciously aware versus conscious in the robot. Take that in. There's two different worlds here. You can be conscious in the robot, meaning you can look around at the life you're living and consciously see all the things outside of you. That's conscious in the robot. That's conscious in density. Or you can flip, which is the work I'm helping you do, and be consciously aware that you are not the robot and that everything you do in your life is living free of it.